Okay, good. So ask anything. I'm an open book. 35 years in real estate since school. That's all I know. Thank goodness for the industry, or otherwise I'd be unemployed. Second thing, 17-year-old, straight out of school, straight into real estate, went into property management, then went into sales. Bought into the McGrath business when it was just starting off really on its growth as a shareholder there. I was involved there for 22 years in building it. Left there about 8 years ago and started the agency. So that's my quick journey in a nutshell. Just before we do kick off though, one of the things about leadership I'm going to cover today is courageous. You know, leaders have got to have courage. Starting up something like this today, I just want to call out to Manos, Maria and Arthur and all the team. It's very courageous to start anything. I've been involved in 2 startups in 30 years. So Manos, just a round of applause to you and Maria. I think it's fair to say, team, it's a very crowded marketplace in the conference space. Would we agree with that? And there's lots, I've spoken at most of them actually. I was just at Rise last month. And to come out and do something like this, it needs vision, it needs courage, it needs to be unselfish. You know, you're running a business and you're trying to build something like this. So to be able to do this and give back to the industry, and I've seen what Manos and Maria, so I wanted to be part of it when they called me. I love startups. That's probably one of my things. So we're going to go quick. So here we go. Today I wanted to talk about what I think, and there's no right or wrong in this, the 5 pillars of leadership are. So first of all, let's kick off. Hands up, who's a leader? Okay, so there's quite a few hands up. Okay, for those that didn't, who's a mum or dad in the room? Keep your hands up. Who's a big brother or a big sister? Right. So what am I trying to prove here? We're all leaders, right? It's the first thing. I wasn't born to do the roles I'm doing, as Thea mentioned at the beginning. What I was born to do is I started off, like all of you, no doubt, in real estate. And then people started to work with me closely, and then they started to say, let's collaborate together. And then I was voted, I guess, by the team to do what I actually do now, which is actually lead. So I wanted to talk about the first one. First one, in my view, the very first strength of a leader is you've got to have vision, team. What do I mean by vision? I sit down with a lot of people right across the country and have done for years, and I ask them, I sit down with agents, I sit down with principals, I sit down with property managers, and I say to them just one thing: what's your 1 year, 2 year, 3 year business plan? Now, I'm not going to ask the question because I don't want you to put your hands up, but it is scary. It's scary is the word when a lot of people say to me, I don't have one, right? Have you ever had one? The answer's very rarely yes. If they do have one, it's very sketchy, right? So what's your 1 year? The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is, if you don't have one, and the first thing you leave when you go back is do a 1 year, 2 year, 3 year business plan, right? And I'm not talking about a business plan that's like this. My business plan has to fit on the back of a matchbox. That's how I want you to think, because you'll do it if it sits on the back of a matchbox. So when we started the agency, we wanted to get to 600 agents, 10,000 managements. We wanted to be in right across Australia. We had a plan, right? We had a vision and we had a plan and we had a pathway. Pathways and startups, anyone that's had a startup will tell you, they never very rarely go the way they did. Mine didn't. Both 2 businesses I've worked in, the pathway never fit the plan, right? But you've got to have the plan and the vision. The vision pulls you through the pathway, right? Absolutely critical. People will not work with you, they will not follow you, they will not stay with you unless you show them a vision and give them a pathway. Now, the amount of businesses around the country, and one of our biggest things since we started the business, we've acquired and merged with a lot of real estate businesses. So when I sit, and I'm talking very successful businesses, we just merged with a very big company in Sydney's Inner West that joined us, a very 3rd generation real estate company. So you bring culture in and you've got to be able to do that. But it's very interesting when you merge a smaller vision with a bigger vision. So those that are growing, it's something very important. Next step is as a leader, you've got to have visibility. Your team must be able to see you. I don't understand how people can run these businesses. I don't care if it's 3 agents, 200 managements, and a small real estate business, and not be there. Visibility, I think, I want you to think like, get up every day, and when you're driving down the road and you see people out, so they've got the green jackets and the orange jackets on. I want you to put an orange jacket in your mind on and walk out the door every day into your business. Your team have to see you. I've 800 people in our business. I virtually know most of them. The only ones I don't know are the ones I haven't actually physically got to meet yet. But I ring them when they start. I introduce myself. I launch every single one of our new people that joins us on social media is launched through my LinkedIn. I welcome them, speak to them. So when I get off a plane and I land in Perth, I know everyone when I get there. So as a leader, and I've got state managers and we've got a proper structure. It's not me. I'm only a small part of it. But the bottom line is you have to be visible, right? These look at the country. When Scott Morrison was running it, and he had that issue around. He was away on holidays. Everyone remember that? Yeah. People hate not seeing the leader there. This is not a business where you can sit in a control room pushing buttons. I know a lot of principals are trying to do it. I'm going to be away in Bali, and I've got my 2IC. And if you're going to try and run a business like that, you better damn well have a good 2IC who's committed. Because I have seen so many businesses go off the rails when the principal's out there doing their thing and travelling and going away and leaving everybody else to do the work and not actually on the grind. And I've seen things fall apart very quickly. So I want you to think vision and visibility. The next one I think you must have, I think is probably the biggest one of the 5 pillars that I'm going to go through, is empathy. If you don't have empathy for your team, they're going to pick it up. They're going to see, my favourite question, I'll sit down and do a one-on-one. A lot of the people in here, I've actually worked with some of them before in previous brands. They know if I've ever done a one-on-one with you, my first question is, how's life? It's not, how much GCI did you write last month? How many new managements did you bring in? I just ask, how's life? As leaders, I want you to start asking that question. How's life? Tom Panos and I did a training session 2 months ago, and he mentioned it. We put it out, and the amount of people I got that texted me after that to say, wow, that's just not the way. I've got principals, directors, sales managers walk in with people's KPIs and say, you haven't done it. That's how they start the meeting. Well, sorry guys, I'm lost. But having run some of the highest performing agents in the country, the last thing I talk about is how many sales they made, how much GCI they banked, and I'm not interested. How's life? Well, Matt, I've got to tell you, I've got a problem. My kid's this, my wife's that, my partner's this, my husband's that. My father's just been diagnosed with something, or what, my kids are on drugs. I can tell you, and that determines the meeting, right? Very rarely end up getting, so the thing we've got to learn as leaders, we've got to have empathy. And if we find the problem, my job as a leader is I go in and fix problems. I think Simon Sinek says it very well. If anyone followed any of his stuff, he said a leader is not to be in charge, it's to be in charge of those that work with you, is to help them. Like you're in charge of those. You're not telling everybody what to do. You're there to lift and inspire people around you. So the amount of meetings I've gone into one-on-ones with my managers, with other colleagues, with agents, and I've sat there and said, how's life? And they go, well, here's what's happening. The meeting's taken a completely different pathway. Has anyone had that happen before? Yeah. So right, as a leader, you'll know what I'm talking about. But let's get away from numbers, because I can tell you, what stops agents performing is what's happening outside of real estate. Who agrees with me on that? If they're in there and they've done sales before, they've been successful in your team or what have you, they know how to list and sell. They know how to bring in a new management. They know how to do an arrears letter. They know how to do coaching. They know how to be. But if they're off track and you don't ask the question, you've got a problem. Now, what do you do? Empathy then brings out what to do. I've jumped in, I've paid school fees, I've paid rent, I've paid mortgages, I've done all that. That's what you do as a leader. Now, if you do that, have a guess what happens. I started this business 8 years ago. I've got 95% of the people I started with a startup are still with me today. And that's not anything just to say, but I know why they're there, because they say, we bought the vision, we can see the pathway, right? I've got some of the biggest riders in the country. They get called and poached by everyone every day, and most of them don't actually need to work. They can run their own business. My top 30 agents, actually 30 or 40% of people with us at the moment have run their own businesses, and they've actually got out. So there's another thing, and I think Manos brought it up before. I said another thing with Tom about 2 months ago in an interview, and I said, I can't wait for the industry, Manos, you're like this, to start giving awards out, abolish GCI and give award out, who's the highest net profit, right? Imagine that one. If we stop giving awards out for GCI, you'd see what's that Warren Buffett saying? When the tide goes out, you'll see who's wearing underpants or whatever, right? Is that the one?
I have a saying, and I say, volume is vanity and profit is sanity.
Well, perfect, yeah, very good. So that just comes along there. So the next one is execution. Don't take that the wrong way. The ability to actually deliver. Speed is the new currency in this industry, speed. I sit down with an agent, my manager, a client, something went wrong, something's happening. I'm executing it literally while I'm standing there with them. Anyone that works with me, if somebody's got a problem, I say, hang on a minute. I'm dialing the fix while I'm talking to them. I think we need to do that, especially leaders. If you're running big teams, you've got to clear your plate quickly. So people will follow you into the fire if you can deliver for them. And follow up. I don't understand this industry around, Amy quite well said it before, you're taking people's names and phone numbers at open homes, you're doing all these things, and nobody returns your call. Why do you take the name and phone number? You must ring everyone back. Every time, I'm dialing people back constantly. I usually get home and sit in my garage before I go upstairs and get rid of all my calls. If it's missed calls, I just go through, great tip, I just go through my missed call register. I go through my voicemails, I go through the text, and I don't get up into the lounge room until I've cleared them in the garage. So go through your missed call register. Even if people don't leave a message and you call them back, that's highly impressive, guys. You've got to be able to execute. I think it's probably in Australia, I think it's known today, leadership. People are craving leadership. We're hearing it all the time. One of the biggest things, people don't execute. You see every time, I don't care if it's Labor, Liberal, Greens, whoever, they promise something before the election and they don't execute. You promise something to your team and you don't execute, let me tell you, you'll be voted out at the next election, right? So don't promise things you can't deliver. And if somebody says, I'm happy to say, give it to me, because when people in my team know it's coming to me, they know it's going to get done. Now, the problem is when you build a team and you build people to empower underneath you, not everyone goes at the same pace. So I've burnt some people underneath me over the years because I'm 100 miles an hour, and if it means an agent or one of my team or somebody's got a problem, I'm going to fix it, and I'm going to fix it by close of business. And I'm going to attempt to fix it by close of business. So what's your speed to execution? Is it like, I'll get back to that on Friday? Or, the old saying, which I tell my team all the time, for the my mature generation in the room, people used to say, I'll get back to you by close of business. Everyone heard that before? Well, to me, personally today, that's closing your business. If you're getting back to somebody by close of business, you're going to be closing your business, right? Do you agree? If you can ring up McDonald's and get the Uber can deliver a Big Mac and nuggets or whatever to your front door within 20 minutes, and a real estate agent who's taking $30,000 commission can't ring you back within the same day, we've got a problem, right? You can get McDonald's delivered to your front door in 20 minutes from Uber Eats. That's the expectation, team, out there in the marketplace. You need to execute. This one here is critical. I think from leadership, there's a lot of inconsistency. There's, I'll do this for these people, the biggest rider gets the prize, the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Everyone that's worked with me understands, I don't care how much you're riding. And I've told the biggest riders to their face, if you're not a nice person, you're not looking after your colleagues, you're not upholding our values, you're not, and that's consistency from a leadership perspective. I go into a lot of businesses and some of the agents that aren't riding as much as the big dog in the doorway says, oh, well, I don't get this because, they're riding this. So there's a lot of disdain in businesses around the country, right? So think about that. Sometimes it's better to remove the big dog in the doorway. So someone goes, someone grows. You know that saying? Yeah? So I just I'm throwing the challenge out because I've dealt with some of my biggest, I've got a couple of riders that one's doing north of 10 million, the other one's on his way to 7. I've got some phenomenal performers and look, they come with big expectations, but they know when they pick up the phone to me, they're not going to get all the time what they want to hear, or they pick up their phone to their sales leader, but I'm consistent with it. I'm not saying to this rider, I'm going to do this. And the team that I lead in terms of property management, they know my demeanour is consistent. It's a safe environment to come and talk to me. You have to be a safe environment as a leader. You have to be listening all the time. I'm honoured today here. My wife decided to come down with me. I don't think she's given real estate the widest berth, having been married to me for 28 years, and she's just walked in the room, the back there, Connie. and I just, we stopped going to awards when the kids were born 25 years ago. She's got out of the real estate zone, but she's one thing, having a partner and having kids, I think too, guys, is a great way to learn how to communicate. Having kids, we've learned how to negotiate, haven't we? We've learned how to lead. I think if you're a parent, hey, what do you prefer, signing up an auction or having an argument with a 2-year-old? Which one? But having kids is leadership, yeah? So what's your leadership like at home? What's your leadership like within your family? Like my family, extended and internal, a lot of them come to me because of the consistency. They know I have empathy, and it's what you do outside of work, I think, is just as important, right? And guys, the other thing too is critical. You've got to be kind, right? So think of this. I'm going to give you a couple of scary stats. There's a lot of we're all around the country except South Australia, so I've got a good lens on Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane. I've got agents in all of those areas. And what I find is a lot of competitors hate each other. What is this? So I want to tell you, 40% of my 800 people in their group and the 480 that are in sales, 40% are my competitors that said, Matt, we're thinking of selling. Can we sell to you? My direct competitors that I actually worked against, right? Because I always had, when I listed a property, I'd say to, I'm an agent too, mind you. I've been selling real estate for 25 years. I've got 4 listings on the market at the moment, if you have a look on the web. So I'm an agent. I think that's critical too. I'm not sitting in a control room pushing buttons. I know what the market's doing. I know what agents are going through. And I've done that on purpose. I've kept my leg in all the way, because when I'm doing a training session, someone says, oh, the buyers have dropped off. I can guess, I can see what's going on too. So I'm on the pulse. But more to the point with that is, you don't know where your business is coming from. There's probably a lot of your competitors who, if you were kind to and you reached out, might come and join you. But I get people calling me and I say, look, they say, we want to get out, but we want to sell, but we want to stay in real estate, but I can't sell to any of my competitors. I go, what's that all about? And they go, well, this one's that, and this one's that, and I've had a fight with that one, and that one, this one, that. Guys, think about it. Be kind. We're all trying to do the same job, right? It's a competitive industry, I get it, but you don't need to be unkind. Thanks, Hannah. If you're nice, it's helped me. Being nice and kind to my competitors has helped me grow my business. They're coming to me going, Matt, we can only sell to you because we wouldn't sell there because we don't want to work with them. We wouldn't sell to them because we don't want to work with them, right? Think about that. I just want to break some mindsets while we're here. So I want to recap. We've got 5 minutes and we'll kick into some Q&A. So guys, questions, any questions you want, all on the table. We started EBUs 25 years ago. We were the first ones in the country to actually start it. I don't use those words at EBU. It's something that's been created, but we were the first. We had assistants working with agents, and then how I was born, I guess, is I started to grow it with one of my other colleagues, and then we started to build up teams. And then my last 25 years has been adjusting the sales to catch the wind, tweaking the roles, tweaking the splits, looking at different models. I've been over the States. I saw, before I launched the agency, what they were doing in America. I saw lots of agents working in one hub, but going through 34 suburbs being covered by one hub. And I thought, this is coming because, if you can be the largest bookstore in the world and don't have a shop, Amazon have proven it, right? The largest bookstore in the world doesn't have a shop. You can sell real estate to people, right, without necessarily having it. That was my vision. Won't work for everyone, won't work in every part of the country, but we've been able to get it to work so far. So that's just a bit about our model. But the other one, visibility, just wanted to touch back on that, which is important, is walk in the office every day and go and say hello to everyone. One thing I've found when I do it, I can quickly see, and if I go around the room here right now, I can see who's got a black cloud over their head right now. And it's the best way to do it. Walk in to the office and walk around. Principals go up elevators and come back at the fire door to avoid going to say hello to their sales team. I've been with them. What is that, guys? What is that? Lead, follow, or get out of the way. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. Right? If you don't want to be a leader, don't be a leader. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. Okay, so we might kick into Q&A. How was that? Everyone take something away from that? Yep, great. Thanks, Steve.
Nick, can I get on? Thank you. I don't know about you, there's two things. One, I'm very excited to hear some of your questions, but two, you can use your paddles, right? I know that we love a paddle in real estate, so if you've got a question, just throw your paddle up in the air. Manos and I are both here on the mics, so we'll run to you. I think that, can I get a first question, please? Give me one. Yep. Can I have one? Yes. Where am I? Over the back? There you are. Thanks, Manos.
G'day, Matt. Do you remember me?
I can't.
Gary Jones.
I do, Gary.
When I came to Sydney for a few months.
Class act.
We did one-on-one.
Brisbane?
Brizzy,
yes,
yeah. And
class
I've now
act.
opened my own agency.
I remember you well.
Thank you, man, and thank you for your coaching at the time. Opening a new office, literally a couple of days ago, into the new commercial space.
Fantastic.
Owned business for 4 years now. What would you recommend as the first top priorities when you're going into your new marketplace, your current marketplace in a commercial space? What would be the best ways to connect with your community? Because I know you're very good at doing that.
No, thank you. Very easy question and good one, and I'll give you some real good stuff on it. First thing is, have you got a VIP night organised?
We're in the process of organising the launch night.
Are you going to do that close to your office, or can you get a nice venue close?
The space is big enough. We're doing it in the office.
Excellent. So that's the first thing I'd do. So I would invite everybody. Keep it boutique, but there'd be probably, because if you've all been in the game a long time, like yourself, guys, you've got to look back at. There's probably 80% of your business probably comes from 20 to 30% of your clients. Would that be right?
Yes,
so
correct.
Make sure that circle are all there. I'd have a nice gift to give them. I'd put up a vision of why you've done this, because people buy into your vision, like I said before, and I'd show them the pathway of what you want to achieve and how it's going to benefit your past clients. And I'd have that on the night. So I'd say, I just want to do a quick slide, don't get into too much rah-rah, but just why I opened, here's the vision, here's the pathway, here's what we're achieving and what's in it for you to support me. So that's the first thing. Second thing is I'd walk around and meet every single owner in the area that owns a shop and introduce yourself. Second thing I'd do is go to the best cafe, go to the highest, look around, see who's got the biggest queue, walk in there, see if you can do something with your clients to get a coffee card with your name on the front of it, their name on the back of it. And when you're doing opens on the weekend and you've got a buyer, you want to go and sign them up or something, you say, look, here's a free coffee, go down, I'll meet you 4 o'clock at this cafe, and start building that as your second place of business. Make sure it's the busiest one, because all your vendors in the area are probably going to do that. And I'd work from that cafe twice a week in the morning between 8 and 9. I would sit there with my laptop and make calls and watch all your potential vendors coming in to buy their coffees. All right?
Thank you, Matt. That's
That one
brilliant.
works.
Thanks,
Okay.
Matt.
Cheers.
Over here with Joel. Matt, over here.
Yep. Sorry, Fee.
Hey, Matt. That was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Obviously, a lot of experience that you've got.
Yep.
We're at the point now we're putting on agents in the office. And have you seen successfully that principals have been able to put on sales agents as commission only, debit credit, and contractors on different splits? Or would you recommend that you just say, no, this is our policy in the office, this is what we do, and someone that wants to go to a different model contract?
Yeah,
don't
absolutely.
go.
Look, in your planning, when you do, if you've got a pathway, we've got a 3-year plan, I'd have a specific. I'm all about keeping things simple. When you grow something, the bigger you get, if it's I've got one deal here, I've got another deal there. What were they on? Their PA was paid for. For us in the company, it's one model. We pay our fees on sliding scale and they get reset based on how much GCI you write. So someone's in the loo in WA and they meet someone in Sydney, they're all on the same split. It's state-based, but they're all on the same sort of splits. So that I don't have that problem of, because there's all these deals out there. I'd try and get one model and I'd keep it simple. If you have to put somebody on like a debit credit, I'd give them a timeline on it. I'd say, look, I'm happy to fund you for 6 months, and then we test it every month. We sit down and I'd manage it, then on to commission only. But I'd just have one model because it's too confusing. If you're going to grow it, then you can look at 10 people in the eye and you know they're all on the same deal. Nothing worse than secret backdoor deals. Very hard, and it destroys your leadership. Yeah. Yep.
Another question?
Matt, so with the EBUs and sole agents, what
Yep.
do you think the biggest key reason or the way that you can help keep people in your
Yeah.
EBU rather than just training someone up, you think they're going to be with you for 3 years and they just drift off to be on their own, which like Manon said before, there's good and bad parts to it, but what's the key ingredient to keeping an EBU together for a long period of time?
Good question. I coach my senior agents to what's your path and vision. Do your team know your path and vision? So what's your vision? Like if you have a team of 6 in an EBU, call it, the team leader should have a vision. They have to have the vision, and then they should have a pathway for each individual person in that team. If you don't have that, the people aren't staying with you. I can personally guarantee you. They will not stay. I've kept most of my big teams, the same people in those teams have been there for 7, 8, 9 years now. I've kept them because we sit down and we do it with our big teams. I get involved. I personally get involved. And I say, righto, we set the vision with the team leader and we roll it out to the team. Because there's nothing worse than how many times you hear this principal's off skiing in Aspen, juniors there working 7 days a week, running around doing pest and bills. The principal's making a fortune and I'm sitting here when all my mates are out, partying, right? Because they don't have a vision. But if they're there going, I'm going to be making 300,000 in 3 years because I've seen it, and I'm on 100 now or whatever, I'm not going, I don't care what anyone else is doing around. The problem is there's no path and there's no vision. So does that help? Yep. Okay.
Matt?
Yep.
G'day, Matt. Claudio here.
Thanks, Clint.
On that note of running teams or EBUs and providing pathways or keeping people in specific roles, and you've said you've had some really big teams which have retained that team for 6, 7, 8 years. How is that structured? Is it a pathway, you're in buyer work for 2 years and going into listing agent, or? So
what we normally do, I'll give you, because probably don't have enough time, but I'll slip into we're breaking after this, aren't we?
Yes, we
So
are.
I want to expand on this, but I'll give you the elevator ride on it. Here's what it is. So I sit down with a senior and we say, right, you're writing 3 million, we're going to go to 6 million in the next 3 years, right? Let's say we do that. So you're going from 3 to 4 to 6 or 3 to 4.5 to 6. So we come up, we look at their team, we say, all right, here's what a 6 million GCI team looks like. We put that out 3 years, then we reverse it back and we say, all right, you've got Johnny Jr., Mary Jr., Harry Jr., whatever, that are in your team. What's their roles? What's their splits currently? How's it work? So we're going to sit down with them and we're going to say, right, the team's going to 6 million, right? you're at 80, we're going to get you to 500, or you tell us where you want to be. What do you want to be? Where do you want to be in 3 years? We ask that question, but we also have a vision for them as well. And our vision is usually bigger than theirs because, you know, we think big when we sit down. Like I've got a guy who started with me doing 400 grand, is writing 11 million, and he didn't believe he could get there, and I did. And I fought with him, and he got there, and now he's on his way to 15, and he's still arguing with me. But he'll get there. I want to get the first residential. I don't know anyone in Australia that's going to do 15 million in GCI, but I want him to be the first one. And yes, he's in a high-yielding market, and yes, and all that, but he's got a heap of competition. He's got people clipping at his heels and all that. So it doesn't matter what price range you're in, he's still, you know, but... Does that make sense in a nutshell? Yeah. So you bring your people on the journey. People love to be on a journey, right? So where am I going? So to tell you, a lot of the problems with a lot of people, the junior agents in our industry, they go home to their mum and dads and they say, look, they say to their mum and dad, look, I'm on 70, 80 grand a year and I'm working Sundays and I'm doing this and my boss is away. The parents are going to them, that's not good enough. Right? And the parents are influencing, their friends are influencing. If they go home to their mum and dad and say, look, I've just been given a 3-year plan, I'm going to be earning 300,000 in 3 years, what do you think the parents are going to be saying to them? How good's this, right? So that's what I do all day, every day, predicate with our people to give them a vision and give them the path. I want everyone making a heap of money working with me, right? And having a lifestyle too. It's not about only just money. You don't want to be the richest person in the cemetery, right? Too. So that's why my how's life question comes into it, right? Because that's the other lever you pull.
I have a question.
Yep.
Matt, fantastic presentation, first of all.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic presentation. Got so much out of it. Question. I spoke about being Alan Bond ready, and we know the agency goes out there and acquiring and so forth.
Yeah.
And I'd love to hear what your criteria is. How should a business prepare to be tapped on the shoulder?
Okay, great question. So we've been pretty strategic about who we've acquired too. We just acquired a business in Sydney's Inner West, Steve Devine. They do like 8 million GCI, 2,000 managements. Third generation business. We had 0 inside of a donut market share in where they operated in. So we've just gone to number 2 in that market overnight. It's a good thing about if you guys want to grow your business, sometimes trying to reinvent the wheel's not that smart. It's easier to say someone that's got market share and say, hey, what are you doing? What are we doing? Let's see if we've got any synergies. Bang. So on the back of that, Manos, effectively, they were ready. They had everything good to go. They'd thought about it, and I could see he called me, Steve, and he said, look, Matt, I'm 50 plus. You've bought a couple of other businesses. I know those owners. Experience has been good. Would you talk to me? So it was a 2-year conversation, though. Then the numbers have got a stack, and I've got 3 accountants on my board and 2 CFOs, so I don't have to worry about that stuff. They can worry about that. And they just went in and they did their DDs, and everyone came up with a model where now what's happened off the back of that is there's been 4 other businesses around that business that have called me on the back of it. And that's happened for us around the country. So you make noise, and then noise creates noise in this game, right? And then you've got to make sure the experience is good on the way in when you do merge. You've got to be careful around cultures. You've got to be careful around behaviours. You must go in with your leadership hat on, and sell your vision to people coming in with you so they can buy into it as well.
Awesome. Fantastic. Yep. Thank you.
Okay.
Wow, I think, Matt, I am not even going to bother trying to summarise. I think everybody would agree that we could sit here and listen to you all day.
Thanks,
your
mate.
brain around real estate, the freedom in which Matt has shared his business and his ethos. I think we can all take that back into our teams, into our marketplaces, probably even into our families and our homes.
Yeah.
So would you please all join with me in thanking Matt Lahood.